Good afternoon and welcome to CEC Gurukul lecture. In continuation with the series on Indian sociological tradition, I am going to talk today about D.P. Mukherjee and his indigenous sociology. Before I start the lecture, it's important to make a kind of a clarity between the last lecture that I delivered. It was on D.P. Mukherjee and we looked into his life and work. In the lecture, I specifically looked into the growing up of D.P. Mukherjee, his becoming a part of the Lucknow University and some of his major work. In today's lecture, I'll going to throw light on the specific ways in which D.P. Mukherjee kind of contributed to the growth and development of a sociology which could be kind of suited specifically for the study of Indian society. This is very important because at a time when D.P. Mukherjee was kind of contributing to the discipline of sociology, we had already is coming in of a discipline from the West in which certain ways, certain theories, certain modifications of the discipline was required. So keeping this in mind, I am going to look into how specifically D.P. Mukherjee kind of contributes to the development of sociology of India. So to begin with, we know that in kind of an understanding is a time when in social sciences, the positivist school, that is by Auguste Comte and the others, were trying to kind of evolve a sociology as a discipline which could be scientific. So the objective was to have a scientific study of the society. This positivism or scientificism was in terms of looking at society as reality, as a fact out there which could be observed and compared. However, D.P. Mukherjee was critical of positivism. The reason why he was critical of positivism was that it is a difference in terms of studying a physical world in a physical science in a laboratory and studying society. Society kind of can be understood in terms of the differences in perspective, in the time trying to understand relations, and he was kind of very close to what in sociology we kind of term as Verstehen or kind of interpretative understanding. So D.P. Mukherjee was trying to develop a sociological theory which would be rooted in Indian social history. You know, it's very important to keep in mind here that at one side we have this positivist school which was trying to arrive at a science of society with a lot of quantitative understanding, lot of scientific understanding. And at the other level, when it was kind of understanding society in India, India was objectified. India was kind of looked at as an object of study by the Western scholar. So D.P. Mukherjee kind of critiques both. He critiques the positivism of social sciences. At the same time, he kind of critiques understanding India from a Western model. He is kind of very clear that we need to have a sociology which has to look into the history, into the culture of Indian society per se, and we could not kind of apply the Western model and understand Indian society. And that is why his stress was to understand modern Indian culture by going back to the tradition, by going back to the past, and that's very significant. That's which lays down the foundation for the growth of an indigenous sociology of India. So we know that he was kind of not kind of critical in the sense that he says that the Western positivist school of thought is relevant, is kind of important as a model for understanding empirical social science, but we cannot look into it as a model very suitable for understanding society in India, because he thought that it was kind of having or devoid of certain kind of meaning, and that's where there is a shift from positivist social science to interpretative Verstehen understanding. That is, we need to as a sociologist, we first need to understand our own culture, we need to understand our own society before we can actually enter into the Western model or enter into grand theorization that had been done by a large number of scholars in the West. So we know that the methodology of D.P. Mukherjee, or rather D.P. Mukherjee is known as a Marxist sociologist, though he is kind of different from Karl Marx. He applies Karl Marx dialectical historicalism with the kind of specificity of Indian society. So he is not kind of making any attempt to arrive at any grand narratives or grand theory, which was kind of a trend at that point of time in the 19th century. There were most of the attempts were being made to build big theories, grand theories, and there was a lot of generalization. So most of the scholars, Western scholars, would study primitive society and come up with a grand theory with the assumption that it could be applied universally to every part. But this was something which he was very critical, and he was very using Karl Marx theory of dialectical materialism with kind of a lot of caution, and he's kind of saying that we need to shift from a collective understanding, because if we look into Karl Marx theory is more in terms of looking into how there's a shift from communal ownership of property to private property, and therefore D.P. Mukherjee uses Marxist dialectical, but he tries to give space to individual social scientists, and that is what he kind of gives as a caution, that social scientists have to understand social change with reference to their own culture. It kind of would be inappropriate or incorrect to just apply a Western model to kind of understand society in India. In one of his most major work, which is called Diversities, published in 1958, he kind of gives us a clear idea of what could be the use of history in social analysis. To kind of do a recap, D.P. Mukherjee had a graduation in economics and history, and it was through economy and history that he entered sociology. He was kind of giving us a historical approach to sociology. So he's signifying the importance of history by the fact that history would enable us to go back to the past and try to understand a culture as it was practiced by the people, not as it was objectified by the Westerners or the outsiders, but in terms of the everyday practices of the people themselves. So in the study of Indian society, as I have said in the previous lecture also, tradition was the most critical concept, and tradition, all his debates, all his discourses of understanding society in India, at the same time developing an indigenous sociology, revolves around the concept of tradition and the relation between tradition and modernity. So the dialectic of class formation, class conflict, and structural tensions in India bear the stamp of historical context of its traditions and symbols. It implies that we cannot kind of understand class conflict only with reference to the economy. This is again kind of diverting from Marxian analysis, where Marx says that class conflict is basically a difference in the ownership of means of production. It is a conflict between the class owning the means of production and those not owning it. So here it's saying that we can understand this entire genesis of class formation, how the differences between classes emerged only when we look back to the historical development or the certain parts of history which will reflect how certain community kind of appropriated power, and kind of there was a level of mobility where class moved up and the formation took place. So it's very important to kind of look at D.P. Mukherjee's uses of Karl Marx within a very specific understanding of Indian society, and therefore many scholars, especially Professor T.N. Madan, has kind of suggested that when we look into D.P. Mukherjee, his model is a synthesis of Marx and Dilthey. Marx, we know, is giving us an economic kind of an analysis where he is saying that the economy, changes in the economy would lead to change in the structure, and Dilthey was kind of moving away from the positive school in Western science, and he was the first one to kind kind of use Verstehen or interpretative sociology. So we can locate D.P. Mukherjee in between the two. So he's taking off from Marxian dialectical materialism. At the same time, he's saying that this understanding of dialectics requires an interpretative understanding. So for him, history matters in sociological analysis, and the modes of productions, related social relationship constitute essential historical forces, but its outcome is tempered also by tradition, which provides this process specific contextuality. Again, here we see there is a kind of bringing in of Marxian perspective, where he is saying that what the structure of the society depends to a large context on the modes of production, and as society progresses, as history kind of grows, there is a change in the modes of production. This change leads to change in social structure, but then it is not only the modes of production which exclusively is responsible for social change. There are a lot of elements, lot of contribution from tradition which kind of also contributes to transformation and social change, especially when we look into the history of India and we look into how there is kind of Mughal invasion and then coming in of the British colonialism. So all this historical past will help us understand even the formation of class relations, the formation of conflict, and so on and so forth. D.P. prefers a historical dialectical modes of sociological analysis rather than empirical positivism. So in social sciences, we have two kind of ways in which we can study social reality. One is the empirical positivism. As I already said, positivist social sciences was in the initial classical period, where the attempt was to understand social reality as a social fact. It was kind of empirical in the sense it was kind of considered as reflecting the reality. It was an object which could be studied, and if you look into Durkheim, he gives us that any social fact could be studied, observed and compared. So he is kind of using both positive elements of positivism, but from a kind of not totally going by it, but bringing in the interpretative understanding. He rejects the atomism as the relevant notion for sociological analysis of which empirism is anchored. So atomism in empirism, positive school of thought was the focus was on individual actor. In terms of looking into society as a collective, and whatever changes was happening at one level was kind of assumed to be taking place in the entire society. He is kind of telling us that we need to take a mid path. We need to kind of have a understanding where individual role is important, but that a role can be understood only when we look into the social group or the collective at a large. D.P. Mukherjee refutes the empirical methods like survey, quantitative models on the ground that they are devoid of individualism and it is totally collective. So this is again something which is can be more understood when we go back to the kind of nature of social science in general and sociology in specific. As in the initial days when the discipline was emerging, the focus was more on quantitative data, survey in the sense large scale study, lot of quantitative data were collected, and kind of generalization was arrived at. So what D.P. Mukherjee says that what happens when we look into quantitative economic and data, it is looking at the society in terms of the collective as a group. There is no kind of understanding what would be in case of an individual understanding, or how an individual would kind of be explained in terms of the society. So this entirely dialectic between the individual and the society is a kind of a dual process. It's not that individual are kind of cut off from the society. And as we've seen in the earlier lecture also, when he looks into personality, he kind of tells very clearly that a personality or what a person is depends to a large extent to the the social context in which one is located. So that is important, and that brings us the whole idea of not a very empirical study, but more ethnographic, in the sense that it is not only looking into data. We would be more into qualitative study, we would be more looking into the narratives, looking into the ways in which people express their ideas, the ways in which the culture impacts individuals. Those has to be documented and understood by sociologists. He considers these as coming from the West and not suitable to capture the specificity of Indian society. One reason why he says that these economic methods of quantitative survey, large scale survey, would not be kind of applicable to the study of Indian society is also because of the nature of Indian society. India is kind of a more heterogeneous in terms of having individuals from different castes, different creed, different religion, different cultural setting, and also when we look into the history of India, it has not been kind of homogeneous. It has phases where there has been lot of invasion from outside, lot of external groups have come in, there has been assimilation of those who came from outside, so there has been lot of conflict. So we cannot kind of only apply a grand narrative to understand the whole of Indian society, and that's the reason why he tells us very categorically that we need a sociology of India which would be kind of looking into the heterogeneity of cultural experiences of individual from kind of not from a collective perspective, but more from an individualistic perspective. Very important work of his is Making of Indian History. So when he kind of giving us a historical sociology, he kind of looks into how history can contribute to the development of the discipline of sociology. And just like Karl Marx, he kind of also characterized British rule as uprooting. However, he differed from Marx's positive assessment. So Karl Marx was very kind of positive in terms of arriving at an understand that the British rule has kind of brought about structural change. Rather, there's a lot of literature which would kind of tells us that the British rule has actually kind of brought a lot of trouble, lot of economic problems. But there is a lot of mixed feeling that which also needs to be assessed, that on one side colonial rule did bring about lot of problems in terms of economic and other social problem, but at the same time we also need to realize that there were a lot of contributions which were positive in terms of science, in terms of education and so on. So he is kind of being giving us a very balanced assessment of the colonial rule in India, and that needs to kind of look into how we need to kind of understand the dialectics of social change in India. When we talk about dialectic implies a dual relation between two sets of ideas, and when we look into the social change of in India specifically, we need to understand the dual relation between three sets of ideas. One is the idea of the tradition and modernity. This term becomes very crucial in the beginning of 19th century when the Western scholar, the Orientalist, starts documenting Indian society and kind of draws a hierarchy, places Indian society as a traditional society because it is a caste-based society, is a village-based society, and it is kind of said that as because of colonial rule, because of industrialization, because of westernization, there is a shift from tradition to modernization. So similarly, when we look into the change, we need to look into a continuum from tradition to modernity. The second dialectic is between nationalism and colonialism. You know, where these kind of people who kind of look into nationalism in a very specific, in a very political sense, in terms of kind of the feeling of nationalist or the feeling of nation, an idea of nation. But it's important to kind of understand the emergence of the notion of nation state and a national identity only when we look at with reference to colonialism. And the third, which is quite evident in all works of D.P. Mukherjee, is the dialectics between collectivism and individualism. So D.P. opposed Marx and refused to be ashamed or apologetic of Indian past. So this is one kind of a theorization which was there, where the colonial or the Orientalist discourse were kind of pointing out to the negativity of Indian society and was trying to suggest remedies in terms of progress, in terms of moving from caste-based society to a class-based society, moving from agrarian to a industrial society. So this kind of understanding that the past was completely negative was something which D.P. Mukherjee did not accept. Rather, for him, it was the past gave us certain lessons which we need to understand, and it could not be understood by an outsider. Those claims that the outsiders were making it could not be viable, could not be justified, because they had not experienced it. So, in order to make sense of your society, of your culture, you need to first experience it. And when people who, there is a research kind of based on the individual's experience, it would kind of come out with a certain conclusion that there was nothing to be ashamed of the past of Indian society. D.P. expected Marxist approach to be embedded in specificity of Indian history, as Marx himself had grounded it by focusing on capitalism. So, when we look into to try to make sense of D.P. Mukherjee as a Marxist scholar, it's very important to also look into the context in which Karl Marx was writing. So, if the entire theorization of capitalist society or the understanding of the emergence of a working class society was based on the capitalism. So, it is very important, therefore, we look into or we try to locate the specificity of Indian history which would help us to understand the modern society, and not just by looking into the lessons. If capitalism kind of theorization was based on understanding of the Western society, it could not be appropriated by any mean to understand society in India. D.P. Mukherjee believed that sociology would show the way out of the social system by analyzing process of transformation, by first focusing on tradition and then only on change. So, this, if we were to kind of understand the dialectics between tradition and modernity, we need to first understand what was India's tradition, what was the past, and if we need to understand that the tradition has undergone change or social change has happened in India, we need to find out what was the reality first before we could understand change that has taken place. So, most of theorization again in the 19th century on Indian society was more on focusing on transformation which has taken place. So, they were focusing on the results that Indian society has transformed. For instance, if we look into the family, theories were telling us that the joint family had become nuclear family. So, the result was being looked into it. What D.P. Mukherjee tells us is that we need to understand first what was the joint family before we can understand the change that has taken place. So, tradition and social change we know is kind of very critical when we look into D.P. Mukherjee's work, and he was very clear that economy could not be the only source of internal changes, because India has a rich culture, India has kind of a heterogeneous culture that is important, and we need to understand two things. One, the past, which is based on cultural assimilation and acculturation, and two, we need to understand the structure of caste class nexus in order to understand how there was a colonial rule led to the emergence of the middle class, which played a very important role in terms of nationalism and making sense of change and mode of change in Indian society. And as we know that by giving us a theory, by giving us an indigenous sociology, he was outlining a role of Indian sociologist, and the role of the Indian sociologist that he highlighted was to locate the non-economic internal sources of changes, because economic changes is visible. It was quite out there that if economic change has taken place, there is increase in mobility and lifestyle changes, but what is important is look to search for the non-economic changes. And so when we look into Marxist indigenous sociology of D.P. Mukherjee, we can kind of make a conclusion in terms of 2 or 3 aspects. One, he rejected the positive school in terms of not being very apt for our understanding sociology. He kind of blended Marxist dialectical materialism with historical analysis. So, it is a dialectical historical analysis of Indian society. 3, he is kind of rejecting this dichotomy, the tradition and modernity between collective and individual, and is kind of suggesting a mid path, and in that way kind of an understanding that D.P. Mukherjee's indigenous society was sociology of India for the study of Indian society. With this, I come to an end of this lecture. Thank you.